Welcome to the show, everybody. Joseph Robert, the fantasy football counselor. In this video, we're talking about 5 best value picks for fantasy football 2020. Yes, players that are going at an ADP that is just shocking because these guys could finish potential top 10. That's how good these guys are. Yet their ADP is really low because they had a I would say mediocre or subpar year last year. So I'm going to give you guys 5 best value picks that kind of jumped out at me when I was looking at the ADP consensus rankings. Stay tuned. Big show. All right, guys, welcome. We're talking best value picks. I like this because we got 5 picks here for you that you can get for an amazing value. Okay, guys, you guys are gonna be very, very impressed with this. Before I get into this, I want you guys, if you're watching on YouTube, I encourage you. Sometimes you're in the washroom, or bathroom or whatever. Sometimes you're in the car. Sometimes you're at the grocery store and you're out. So make sure you guys get this podcast on audio, and we're going to be delivering sports news as well. So we're going to be diving into news notes, latest trending news. So it's going to be fantasy, but we're going up and above that as well. I got Tom Santinello. He's a pro football insider, very knowledgeable about football. We're diving into everything football and sometimes sports too. We got potential fights with Mike Tyson coming up. We talked about The Last Dance recently with Michael Jordan in regards to that documentary. So we're covering everything for you guys. Make sure you get the show on Spotify. There's a link here below on YouTube. I've pinned it under the 16-round course there. You guys are going to absolutely love it. Spotify is the place to be for everything audio and fantasy football counselors. Make sure you guys click below. And of course, get the 16-round draft solution. I've also pinned it below. And if you're in the car listening, great. You're probably listening on Spotify or iTunes, and I appreciate it. Please leave a 5-star rating or review. It means the world to me, genuinely. And if you're watching on YouTube, please smash that thumbs up. Let's get people this message, and let's give people more value. I want everybody to be able to listen to the best podcast out there for fantasy analysis and sports news. All right, so let's talk about the best value picks that kind of jumped out at me. Now, there's a ton more. I've also linked below here on YouTube, and you can check it out at thefantasyfootballcounselor.com. My sleepers, my fantasy football sleepers, so check that out as well. A ton of value there. I'm just giving you guys all these different outlets so you guys can get a ton of information. That's my focal point here, is that you guys win your leagues. So there is an article linked below on my sleepers. So there's a ton of value guys like Cooks, right? Diggs is pretty decent value. So Diggs could be he's going to be the wide receiver 1 in Buffalo. There's a ton of wide receivers. This is why I say go robust RB this year, because there's a ton of wide receiver ones you can get mid to even late rounds, okay? So my first guy here for the value pick, it's got to be David Johnson. I'll tell you guys why. He had an amazing 2016 year. I know, I understand. But since then, he's had some, bad luck, I would say, okay? Now, the 1 year in between, a couple of years ago, he finished top 9 still. So he had the one injury after his big year in the wrist. Then he finished top 9 PPR amongst running backs, and I guess that didn't please a lot of people because everyone had the high expectations of 2016. And then last year, the coach kind of screwed him. So it's not all David Johnson's fault. And he was a little injured. But I have an insider that knows the Texans. He writes for the Texans. I hear, from what I'm hearing, this guy is going to be utilized a lot, especially in the catching the ball out of the backfield. So David Johnson is in a prime position to succeed. He's going to get the volume. And the best part about this is that he's angry. And understand, guys, he got really let down by Kingsbury and the Arizona Cardinals, and he's got something to prove. And the coaching staff and the entire GM of the Texans have already said, basically, right? They know. They've said, hey, we believe in this guy because we traded DeAndre Hopkins for him. So there's a huge investment in the part of the Texans in regards to David Johnson. He's got a chip on his shoulder. He's healthy. He's going to be utilized out of the backfield catching the ball. So I am super, super excited about the opportunity and volume. And just to recap last year, Carlos Hyde ended up getting 240 plus attempts. I think he had 6 touchdowns on the ground. And this is Carlos Hyde, and he absolutely sucks. So when you're looking at a guy like David Johnson, the sky is the limit for this guy. Absolutely love him for fantasy football 2020. And he's going in around the 4th round, which is crazy. Now, I see him come off in the 3rd round sometimes, and this guy could finish easily top 5. That's the ceiling for this guy, easily. I mean, if he gets the volume and he's utilized and he stays healthy, absolutely love David Johnson. So he's the first best value pick that I love. This guy here, I could make an argument that he's even a better value pick. The guy I'm talking about is David Montgomery. Now, here's the thing about David Montgomery. His average ADP is in and around the 5th round, which is an absolute steal because what you're going to get here is an RB1 who's going to get a full workload. Now, we know Nagy's on a short leash. He's going to be in the hot seat because the Bears didn't do that well, and he was trying to get too cute with Tariq Cohen. Now, Tariq Cohen sucks. Let's be honest. We're not going to lie here. He's a pass-catching scat back that can't catch the ball. That's his job. If your job is to catch the ball and be a scat back, you can't lead the team and drop passes. So Tariq Cohen, he's still going to be utilized, but they have to utilize Montgomery to his full potential, meaning don't take him out on 3rd and 1. You got to keep him in the game. Also, Foles could definitely help him as well if he gets a start, if Mitch Trubisky craps the bed. I really feel that David Montgomery, 889 yards last year, 6 touchdowns, 3.7 yards per carry. He's easily going to rush over 1,000 yards. Now, I do have a friend who is a therapist. He's a doctor, works with athletes. And he's been working with David Montgomery specifically in his house, and he talks to David Montgomery, and David Montgomery is working on that top-end speed. He's going to be a lot more explosive if they get him that volume, which I do think they will. So I'm looking at a floor of at least 270 attempts. He had 242 last year, and he wasn't fully utilized. And we started to see that production starting to come up a little bit near the end of the season. So David Montgomery, man, you're getting an RB1. That's what you're getting. A top 10 potential finisher, and you're getting him in the 5th round. The mainstream are sleeping on him. And check this out. He's currently sitting 25th in PPR on the consensus rankings, the consensus rankings. And, with us, we go lion mentality here. He's sitting 25th and ironically finished 24th in PPR last year. So it's literally copy and paste because these guys aren't thinking outside the box saying, hey, this guy's a workhorse running back. We got to rank him higher. They've got him sitting at 24th or 25th, which is great for us because we see the value and he's going to be an RB4. And you guys, I talk about the robust RB strategy. Check out my most recent video. You can get this guy as your RB4 as part of a robust RB strategy, and now you're locked and loaded. Now you can start looking at other wide receivers for great value that are wide receiver ones, and you don't have to pay that 1st round pick on a wide receiver, and you can get tons of value mid to late rounds, okay? So the next guy I want to move on here, so David Johnson, David Montgomery. Next guy I want to talk about here is Kareem Hunt. I mean, this is pretty evident here, and I keep talking about this, and I want to sound like a broken record. I want people to understand this, that Kareem Hunt outscored Nick Chubb 6 out of the 8 games they played together in PPR numbers. Let me repeat that. Kareem Hunt outscored Nick Chubb 6 out of the 8 games they played together last year in 2019. Going into 2020 fantasy football, we've got a potentially healthy Kareem Hunt, right? We've got a guy that could potentially be the starter that was the rushing leader back, I believe it was 2017. He was the league's NFL running back rushing leader, Kareem Hunt, okay? Then he had some off-field stuff, suspension, this and that, whatever. Fact of the matter is he's coming in healthy, and he is basically going to be in there with Nick Chubb. And what gets me, it rattles my brain here, and I just don't understand it, and nobody else is talking about this, and this is why I'm going to keep hammering this point home. Nick Chubb is sitting at the top 10 amongst PPR running backs on the consensus rankings. This is why I call them sheep, because they're literally taking last year's finishers and putting them on top again. So Nick Chubb, top 10, are you kidding me? With Kareem Hunt there, that is absolutely insane, because we saw the lack of production out of Chubb near the end of the season. He had like 2 boom games out of the 8 games playing with Kareem Hunt. And again, Kareem Hunt is there now, right? So he's going to be getting all of the passing work, out of the backfield. Nick Chubb's not going to be getting that work. Now, he may get all the goal line stuff like that. He's going to get more attempts potentially, right? But understand, guys, Nick Chubb didn't even catch a receiving touchdown last season, okay? Hunt is there. He did hoard away 2 rushing touchdowns as well as on top of that, a receiving touchdown. He's going to take away that volume. I'm telling you. And Kareem Hunt, I'm not drafting him, okay? But I will tell you this. If you are so, set on drafting Nick Chubb, I would get a guy like Josh Jacobs late 1st round, who is far superior back to Nick Chubb. You get yourself a Josh Jacobs, who's going to be a focal point of the Raiders offense. You get him, and then you get yourself a Kareem Hunt later, right? You get him in the, he's going like 6th, 7th round, you can get Kareem Hunt. So you can wait on Kareem Hunt, okay, and get him and you're going to get pretty much the same value, even probably a higher ceiling than Nick Chubb with Kareem Hunt, and you're paying nothing to get him, really, okay? So you don't have to invest that first-round pick. I encourage you guys, Kareem Hunt is amazing value, a guy that could steal the job, because in my opinion, if given the same amount of volume and rushes and attempts that Nick Chubb does, is an actual better all-around, all-purpose running back than Nick Chubb. And we've seen it before. It's not like I'm making this stuff up. So Kareem Hunt, amazing value for fantasy football 2020 and a major fantasy football sleeper in my opinion, okay? There's an article linked below here on YouTube, okay? All right, so I'm going to go to two wide receivers here that I absolutely love that are great value. This guy is currently sitting 21st in PPR amongst the wide receiver rankings, and you can get this guy in and around rounds 4 to 5. The guy I'm talking about is A.J. Brown. Listen, last year, he didn't really get going till mid to late season. And remember, Tannehill didn't join the team till about week 7 with the Tennessee Titans. A.J. Brown is the focal point of that offense. And yes, he's going to probably draw some double coverage, but understand the game is revolving around Derrick Henry, so he may see stacked boxes, which could in turn actually open things up for A.J. Brown. Now, A.J. Brown only had 84 targets, 52 receptions, which is absolutely nothing compared to a guy, let's say, like Michael Thomas, who had 185 targets, right? But still, even with the 84 targets and Tannehill not getting into that groove till around week 7 or 8, A.J. Brown still had over 1,000 receiving yards and 8 touchdowns. That is absolutely amazing considering the fact that he didn't get going right away. He is elite talent. He's a great player, and he, again, is a focal point of that offense when it comes to receiving. Now, Geno Smith could get involved as well. I heard him training with Ryan Tannehill here in the offseason, but I love A.J. Brown. He's an amazing value in and around rounds 4 to 5. If you can get him rounds 4 to 5, that is a steal because, again, you're getting a wide receiver 1 for pretty much free, right? You're not paying that first round pick. And we've seen last year these first round picks with wide receiver, fizzle out. Guys like Devontae Adams who got hurt, guys like Odell, where people kept telling you Odell round 1 is what they said, and they lied to you 3 years in a row. And again, Odell is still ranked top 10, which is insane. The guy sucks. And last year I told you Landry's better than Odell. People didn't believe me. They thought I was crazy. And sure enough, Landry smoked him in fantasy points. And this year, again, Odell is ranked ahead of Landry, which is insane. And this is why I'm here, guys. This is why the game is changing, because I'm making you guys aware of the BS that's out there. And the reason the mainstream consensus do this is because they're sheep. They've got sheep mentality. They're weak people, right? And they don't want to be held accountable. They don't want to be wrong. For them to come out last year and say, hey, Landry's going to finish ahead of Odell and he's a better receiver, they'd be crucified. They would be ridiculed. They'd be like, are you guys nuts? And they don't want that type of media attention where they could potentially be extremely wrong. So they're always going to play it safe. And that's not the type of podcast you want to listen to, because if you're always playing it safe, you won't succeed. And that goes in life as well. It also goes with fantasy football, and it also goes with life. The more comfort you seek, the more uncomfortable life makes you. So let me repeat that. The more comfortable you try to be, the more uncomfortable life's going to make you. So for example, if you sit there and eat potato chips all day and chocolate cake and you stuff it down your throat and watch Netflix all day, you're going to look like a guy that ate potato chips and stuffed their face and watched Netflix all day. So I'm encouraging you guys to take care of your health, take care of your finances, take care of your relationships. I mean, this is your body. Take care of it, okay? This is a whole other topic here I'm jumping into, but I want you guys to win, not only in fantasy, but in life. So I want to, be that online mentor for you if I can help you in any other way, okay? So stray away from the sheep, lion mentality. If you guys want the lion shirts, go under swag, under thefantasyfootballcouncil.com. Get your lion shirt represent, okay, guys? All right, so A.J. Brown's another guy. So to wrap this out here, the 5th guy here on the best value pick. And there's other guys. Like I said, Cooks is amazing value. Diggs is pretty good value. You can get, who else is there? There's a ton of guys at wide receiver you can get. I don't even have Terry McLaurin is great value, right? Marquise Brown is great value. He's technically the wide receiver 1 there on the Ravens. There's a ton of value, okay? But these are the guys that jumped out at me when I was looking at the consensus rankings. I'm like, oh my God, these are great value. I mean, why not, right? All right, and this guy, the final guy here, is T.Y. Hilton. Listen, last year, 68 targets, 45 receptions, 501 receiving yards, and 5 touchdowns. He finished 57th, okay? the bottom line here is he just had a terrible quarterback throwing on the ball. Jacoby did not make good fantasy wide receivers at all. Now he's coming in with Phillip Rivers, a solid O-line. They've got a great running back committee as of right now with Mac. Mac sucks. I don't like him, but they've got Jonathan Taylor there. It's going to distract the defenses a bit, open things up for T.Y. Hilton, and he's finally got a good quarterback, a guy that throws the ball a lot in Phillip Rivers that's going to be utilizing T.Y. Hilton. So I'm excited about this opportunity. I'm excited about Michael Pittman coming in as a rookie wide receiver that you can get late. Now, I also recommend, I talk about this in my 16-round draft solution, you can also combo T.Y. Hilton and almost handcuff him with Pittman, because if Pittman goes off, you've got yourself a wide receiver one with Phillip Rivers. You're buying up all the stock with the Colts, and Rivers is pretty awesome. Okay, so I love T.Y. Hilton. He's great value. You can get him in and around round 5 is where he's kind of going, and he comes off a little bit after that sometimes, but 5 is kind of the average ADP of T.Y. Hilton. I consider him a major sleeper, and this reinforces my thought process that you can get wide receiver ones after the 4th round to 6th round, and they're wide receiver ones, and they're solid. They're going to give you that production, while in the first rounds, honing in and locking in those 3 running backs with minimal committees, and you're locked and loaded. And I talk about this. I talk about the sneaky 7 strategy all in my 16-round draft solution, right? And you can learn all that. There's a link here below, or get to thefantasyfootballcounselor.com. There's a link right at the top right-hand side for 16 rounds. You'll absolutely love it. So T.Y. Hilton, just great value. I mean, a wide receiver one in the 5th round, I'll take it, right? And then I'll handcuff Pittman later. So, and I've got pretty much the entire stock of Phillip Rivers and the probably high potent offense that could come out of Indy. So I love the value that I'm getting out of him, okay? So there's your value picks. There's 5 quick ones for you guys. David Johnson, David Montgomery. I'm a David fan here. Kareem Hunt, A.J. Brown, T.Y. Hilton. There you have it, guys. I appreciate genuinely if you guys smash that thumbs up. It means the world to me. And, of course, listen on Spotify and subscribe. I appreciate you guys, and I'm going to be giving you guys a ton more content, and we're going to branch out a little bit more into the sports to give you guys some more topics. So stay tuned in for some amazing content coming up the entire year. We go year round. I don't stop. And I'm trying to put out an episode every day, sometimes 2. So there's a ton of content here for you. Okay, guys? Make sure you guys subscribe. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here, and we will talk soon.